Okay, I guess we can get started now. Nobody else is going to join. Yeah. Hey everyone, how's it going? Everybody back at college now?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Like for first years also, like the exams are over now, no? I think your enrollment started just yesterday.
Yeah, our second semester has started today.
Today. Okay, okay. Okay, that's cool. Actually, yesterday we were supposed to have the meet, but due to like a little bit of timing conflicts, neither I or Varun could come. That's why we had to push it to today. We usually we'll have it on Wednesdays only. Okay. So for today, like we thought, just think of these meets as an open discussion, not generally like me taking the sessions for you guys, but just as an open discussion about a topic that we will be speaking about. Okay. So I hope everybody is having their Notion page open, right? Like I mean, you keep tracking it frequently to look up the sessions. Anybody who hasn't been added yet to the Notion page? Yep. So for today, like we thought, we just go through some general command line tools, both in Linux and in Windows, and a small introduction to Git also, and why we use it, and how you can use it in your system also. Like we'll install it all together and learn a few Git syntax as well. Okay. So does anybody know like what is your command line? Has anybody used it before? Guys, any answer will do. Like even no also is fine. Yes, it's the black screen with the white text. Yeah, so if you're in Windows, I'll just start off Windows because I'm also using Windows right now. I think in your Mac OS you can type it as terminal. In Windows you just type it as CMD. Okay, you will get the command prompt option and just open it all, right? Okay, so using your command line, you can do uh, the same actions that you do generally with your normal file explorer, opening a files, opening a image, uh, and on top of that even more things, because your command line is like a direct link between you and your system, and you're not using any interface like the file explorer. For example, I have this test folder here, right? If I want to create another folder inside this, I just right click and new, and probably some like folder, right? Or I'd use some shortcut like Control Shift N to create it over here. So this all I'm using the Windows provided GUI to create the folders, right? And even I can create a text file also. Yep. I just hello something like that, and I can go inside it and I can edit the text inside this as well. So this all is a direct means of creating files, creating folders and all that. And this is okay if you're working in your system, like your own local system, but when it comes to working in web dev, right? In web dev, usually you'll when you're deploying your code to somewhere else, it will not be in your system. It will be in a server that's located somewhere else, and you will not have a GUI access something which you have in your local system. The only access you will have will be in like a terminal base. So you'll just have like this terminal. It'll probably be written like your username, the location of the server, and something will name of the folder or the code, and you have to do everything using the terminal alone. So that is why we emphasize learning command line also, because while you're coming to the deploying phase of your website, you will be using this the most. Okay. So today we'll just just cover some basic commands. like changing your directories, looking up all the files that are in a particular folder, and making folders, renaming folders, and even some cool commands like ipconfig to see your IP address and all that. Okay, so first we'll start off with Linux. All right. So right now I want to go inside this folder over here. So this folder is inside my desktop. Okay, I created somewhere else, but yeah, I'll just go to my desktop. I want to create a test folder inside my desktop. Okay, so I'll just come to my command line. Uh, since I accidentally booted up my laptop with OneDrive, so I have to do it this way. Okay, so I'm using the cd command. Cd is short for change directory, and as the name implies, I'm going to go into this OneDrive folder. Inside the OneDrive, I'm going to go to the desktop. Over here, I want to see whatever other folders and other files are there. I'm just going to use the dir command. Dir is basically directory, so you can see all the folders and all the files that are over here. Okay, using the dir command. Guys, you can follow along also. It's pretty straightforward to work along over here. And I told you, right, I wanted to create a test folder. So I for that I can use a command called mkdir, uh, mkdir, and just the name of the folder in this case. Okay, since I've already created it before, it's showing like it's already exists. But for test cases, I'll just create another mkdir test one. Okay, and I'll run dir again. You can see there's a folder named test one, right? If I go to my desktop as well, you can see it's over here, right? Any doubts so far with these three commands? cd, dir, and mkdir. Any doubts so far?
Yes,
Yeah, Krishna, go ahead.
no doubt.
Oh, no doubt. Okay, okay, cool. All right. So next, like I made the folder, right? Now I want to go inside that test one folder. So it's the same approach. I'm going to change my directory to the test one folder. So cd test one. Now I'm inside that folder, right? Okay. So now say I want to create that text file, right? How can I do that? I want to write hi inside that text file. I can use another command called echo. The content you just put it in strings, so just like hi, uh, greater than simple, and then name of the file. So hello.txt, right? So this basically means whatever this string is here, this content over here, take it and put it inside the hello.txt file. I'll run this. I'll run dir here, and you can see there's a hello.txt. Now, as I mentioned, you don't have access to the your system provided GUI, right? So you can only see things using your terminal. So how can I see the contents of the hello.txt? Is specifically in Windows, you have something called the type command, and you just put hello name of the file that you want to read. So it'll give you that content over here. Same way, like inside test one, I can again create another folder using mkdir uh, uh, new folder, something like this. Check it. But now there's another way to change the name of the folder also. So suppose say I'm not satisfied with this name, or the name is wrong or something, I can just use the rename command, rename, the current name of the folder. So you remember we set a new folder, right? And I'm just going to camel case it over here, and again run there to see it. And yep, the name of the folder is updated. Anybody having any issues like trying these commands from your end?
Like in the first what we have to write cd desktop and like
Yeah, I had written CD desktop to go specific to the desktop and create a folder. You can create it anywhere in your system as well. Just as an example, if you want to open the command line in a specific folder without having to write CD and then the location of that, right? So I can just just come to that folder, come to the path over here, and I can just type CMD and just enter. This will open the command prompt for that specific folder like directly without me having to change drive and then come to the desktop and then go to the test one folder. Just directly go to the folder in your this one and then you can access it. This is like the shortcut way of
okay,
doing it.
yeah,
Okay. uh, One other cool thing is like you can check your IP address using the IP config here. So it will give you both your IPv4, IPv6. This is all you will learn, I think, by your fourth sem, I guess. So we will try to explore these concepts also, so you can access these as well. Usually, when you're running apps locally, if you're connected to a Wi-Fi, you can just put your IP address, the port, and then you can access it in your mobile also locally without having to deploy it. So using the IP config, you can find out what's your IP address for the testing purposes and stuff like that. Okay. Alright. So this was like for your Windows command. When we come to Linux, it's pretty much the same. Linux and Mac OS, they are very similar to each other. So I don't have Linux exactly booted here, but I'm using something called Windows Subsystem for Linux, WSL short. So I can, like I have a Linux based OS in Windows itself. Just give it a second. Yep. Yeah, so I mentioned, right? So Linux is common everywhere. Even when you deploy your apps, the command line option that you'll be given, that also will be in Linux. Windows or command line tool will not be available for most of the part. As I mentioned, right, you'll have your username, the folder, and probably in that instance where your uh, code is being deployed, the location of that code also. So it's the same over here. So you can uh, s- see the contents of a specific directory, change the directory you wanted. There is very small difference over here. So in Windows we use dir, right? In in Linux it's called ls. So ls, will give you the okay, this is a bit big, but yeah. So it'll give you like the contents of all the files present in a specific location, right? So this all is there. Then same way, if you want to create a folder also, uh, it's mkdir over here. Okay, I don't have, maybe this should work. Yeah, I forgot my password, but yeah. Yeah, so uh, in Linux, like it's a bit more protected over here. I don't remember my password at the moment, but yeah, so the most of the commands are same except for dir, and instead of the where we use type, right, to check the content of the folder, instead of that you will be using cat. So one thing I'm not able to show it you right now. I'll show it you at a later instance. But yeah, so type is in Windows, cat is in Linux. Okay. How many of you are having Windows over here? Okay, that's a lot. Yeah. What about Mac and Linux? Okay, okay. See, right now, the most common commands that we'll be using is like mkdir, which is common in both, cd, which is also common, and we'll also be using git. I'll show you what it is now. So you don't have to, worry, like, since I'm in Windows, you can't do it in Mac or Linux. It will be same for the most part. Okay. Any doubts with these command line uh, tools? Like, if you're having any doubts, just put in the chat box, or just unmute and ask. Okay. If there's no doubts, should we move to Git? Okay. Yeah. So before we get started, I just want everyone to go to this link. I'll just go to downloads directly and share that link. Okay. And just download Git. All right. Yep. Who here hasn't downloaded Git yet? I know some of you might have it, but is there anyone who hasn't downloaded yet? Oh, okay. Can one of you share your screen, Arulya or Krishna? Because there are some configurations that I want others to see as well. Thing is, I have it installed already, so I won't be able to show it. So can either one of you share your screen? Arulya, can you share your screen, like, and show the whole download process? Yeah, sure. Like, just I'll tell you a few things you have to set before. Like, it'll ask you a few options, so just follow along. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Others also, like, just see what is happening so that you also can do the same. All right. So just download it.
Should I open?
Yeah. Open it. Yep. Next. Yeah. Next.
Next.
Yep. Next. Uh, Next. Can you go back to the previous one? Yeah. So here you can change Vim, instead of Vim, just change it to VS Code, like, over that option. Yep.
This.
Yeah, that one. And yeah, next. And over here, select the second option and let it be as main itself. Yep. Next. And yeah, this is same. Next. 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 Yep. Same, let it be. Yeah, let it be. Yeah, default. And yeah, use the git credential manager. And yep, next. And install. Yep, that's it. So the only change was that the branch details, right? So either you keep it same or override it. You had to select to override in that case and let the name main be the same.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, that's it. Finish. Good. So if you want to see whether Git is installed or not, just open your command prompt. Type git dash dash version space dash dash version.
Space.
Yeah, dash dash version, version. Yeah, I mean it's technically installed. You can see it's giving those errors, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So with this, you like have installed Git. Anybody else is
Yeah.
having this issue of installing Git? Yeah. Thanks, Arulya, for showing this.
Yeah. Thank you.
Everybody install Git right now? I mean, just raise your hand if you have installed Git. Others, are you having some issue installing Git right now? If you've already installed, also just raise your hand. Okay, okay. Cool. All right. So let's get started then. So Git is nothing but something called a VCS. A VCS stands for like a version control system. Before we get it in terms of code, uh, let's just think of it this way. Uh, Imagine you're working on a graphic design or like a paint or something. You'd probably create a version of it. You'd paint it out, and then you'd save it as some name, right? So my paint, file one or something. uh, then again, you think you need to make some changes. You make those, but then you also realize that you need to keep the original version intact just in case you need to go back to it. So you just name it as my paint 2, and this process keeps repeating. I'm not sure if most of you would have seen there's like a meme on it, like uh, my file will be there, and then there'll be something called my file 1, my file final, my file final, something like this. It keeps going, right? So basically you're keeping track of the original file over here by renaming the copies of it by different names over here, right? So this is like a very poor way of version controlling your files over here. And to when it comes to your code base also, yeah, imagine you will be making a particular feature, right? Suppose you're making a landing page, and yeah, you implement it, it's all good, but then you realize it's not responsive enough. Okay, now you implement some changes to make it responsive, but then it breaks your desktop code, right? Your desktop view. So again, you need to go back to the code, but you don't know how to do it. You didn't exactly track the changes or keep a history of your previous changes, right? So in these instances, it's where like the VCS, version control systems, comes really handy. And Git is a version control system that's universally used, and it's like by default available in Linux systems, not on Windows though. So yeah, that's why it's emphasized that we learn Git as well to keep track of our code, the changes that we make, or the changes that we'll implement in the future, or even going back to a previous change with ease without having to worry that uh, when this was made, or like how many files were changed. All this is being tracked by Git for us to work easily in a preferred workflow manner. So I haven't exactly prepared for this, so I just got a very simple PPT from the net. I'm not going to read it out, that's a bit boring. I'll just show you like, one second. Yeah, I'll just show the basic workflow of how Git really works. Okay, I think it was 8, right? Yeah, okay. So you basically have like in general three stages. Here is showing like four, but I'll just show you like why it's called three. So imagine this: whenever you make uh, changes to your code, it will show as like a modified state. Like currently, like you have that basic landing page ready, and then you try to make it responsive. So right now it's like in its modified stage, and you need to keep track of the changes that you made, right? So how exactly do you do it, right? With Git, it's simply like you take your code, put it on a table, and you just put like a camera on top of it, right? So that way you call the code being staged, and then when the camera, right, you take a photo of it, you're calling the code being committed. So when you take a photo, your code is being stored in Git's history. And again, when you make a change to your code, uh, it again comes back on the table. There's a camera on top, it's staged, and then again it's when you click, it's being committed. So in general, you have three flow in Git. The first stage is, where you write your code, you make changes, you test it out, all that. The second flow is that you stage your changes, meaning like they are ready to be stored in the history but are not in the history yet, right? And in the final stage, it's where you're storing in the history, or it's called committing your changes to the Git history, right? So that is the same thing that is being shown over here. Think this will be, yeah, this is more clearer over here. So you have some change uh, in your working directory. You make some changes to your code. After you make those changes, you put on the working area, like for taking the photo, but it's not yet taken yet. So it's in the staging area currently. And once you take a photo of it and store it in the history, it's in the committed stage of your Git workflow. Is anybody having any doubts here? I mean, I'm giving like a very basic explanation of what Git is. There's obviously more to it, but any doubts? Okay, 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 cool. Right. So this is a general Git workflow, but now let's take an example. Like go back to our our test one folder, right? If you remember, we had this hello.txt and the new folder created, no? So suppose say I want to have a history of my hello.txt file over here. Okay, so to do this, first I need to initialize Git inside my folder. uh, Basically I can't track my changes without really having uh, a Git system installed in my folder, right? So what I need to do is just come here, just type git in it. Just follow along, okay? You'll get a feel of how it exactly works. So git init, very straightforward. Init means initialize git inside this specific test one folder. Enter. So it'll tell you initialize empty git repository inside the test one folder. Okay, repository is nothing but your local project. So in this case, my local project is the test one folder, right? So if I put it there again, it won't actually show here because it is a hidden folder. But if you can go to your uh, file explorer, view, and show hidden items, you can see there's a .git folder over here right now. Okay, so general rule, don't mess with this file here until unless you know what you're doing. I also don't touch it that frequently, so you can just leave it as a hidden file by default. Okay, so you don't mess with it. Okay. Next thing I told you, uh, I want to see like what's the current stage of my files. No, I told you three stages in my working directory, in the staging area, and in the committed area, right? So to see that, I can use a command called git status, and here you can see no commits yet. The hello.txt is a untracked file, meaning it is neither staged neither committed yet. Is everybody following along till here? Any doubts? Okay. All right. So yeah, after you see the current status, you can just do a git add and the name of the file. So name of the file is hello.txt, right? Yeah. So right now it's not giving any output, but I can again run git status to see the status of a file, right? So changes to be committed, new file, hello.txt. So right now this is my staging area. I've taken my code, I've put it on my table, and I've put like a camera on top of it, and it's it's ready to go into the history, but it's not in the history yet. So the next command is to take a photo of it and store it in the history. So that will go into the committing area. So for that, you just use a git commit and you just put a flag. So flag is some are small options that you specify to a commit to a command to add additional information about this one. So I'm going to put like dash m and then here so something like created hello.txt file. Dash m is just short for a message. So basically whenever I create a history, so what git does is it creates you know where is that, let me just show it to you. Yeah, so it creates id sort of thing like this, and this id is like refer to each of your commits, each of your history that you make. While it is understandable by the git system itself, it is not understandable to you, right? Like for example, I told you made the change to the landing page, you added the mobile responsiveness. So in Git's perspective, the change that you made is something like 1E235, something like that. But when you try to read your history, you don't understand what's that code, no? So what you can do is when you're committing something, you can associate a particular message to the code. So that is what I'm doing over here. So my commit will have the message like created a file called hello.txt and just enter it. Okay. Yep. So you can see created a file, uh, and then I can just put a git status, and yeah, so working tree clean, nothing, no untracked file, no files are staged, and all files are committed at this moment. I was telling you that ID, right? You can check that using git log, and yeah, so this one, you see this? So this is understandable by Git, but we can't understand it, right? So that is why we put that message, created a file called hello.txt, right? So now imagine I want to make some changes to that file, this hello, right? I'll just do it directly over here and I'll show it to you. Here it's a file, I'll just put hello world and I'll save it, okay? Now going back to the command line, this uh, this change over here is untracked right now. How can I check that? Using the git status command, and yeah, you can see changes not staged for the commit, and this hello.txt is modified right now. How previously we had untracked, no? Now we are currently having modified. So previously the hello.txt wasn't yet added to the history. In this case, hello.txt was added to the history, and now what Git is doing is it's seeing the hello.txt file. It knows that something was changed right now and comparing to the history. So that's why it's giving a modified status, and now it's the same flow. So modified, untracked, they both come under stage one. In stage two, you're putting it in the staging area. So same command git add uh, hello.txt, again use git status, and you can see right now changes are staged and they're ready to be committed, and I can put git commit dash n, and then I can put a message like change content of hello.txt, okay, and again git log, and I can see the commits that were made right now. You see, so it shows it in a the the newest commit to the oldest commit order. So my oldest one was when I created the file, and the newest one was which I just did right now, which I changed the content of the files itself. Okay. Any doubts with this Git workflow? It's a three-stage workflow, pretty straightforward. Like why we are doing it. What if we have a branch and we are contributing to some other repo? Okay, so the second part of this, it will come under GitHub. We will take this in the next session. But yeah, the first part, right, the branch part, I'll show it to you right now. So when you saw all these commits, right, you must have seen something on the top, on branch main over here, and even in the logs that will show head main, right? So what it basically means is when it comes to Git, I have options of creating branches. Branches are nothing but your code in a particular linear format, or you can take that code and go into another branch. So I'm creating a copy of a code within the same project, and I'm working on it somewhere else. I think better presentation should be here.
But yeah, like my specific doubt was like if we have created a branch, we are
Yep.
like committing a code in that branch. So
Right.
like we use git commit space dash m and then the branch name and then the original repo's name, right? So like
Right.
if we are directly pushing the code to original, so don't we have to mention the name of
Git tracks
our
that by
repo?
itself, Uh, one second. Yeah, so when you work on different branches, Git keeps track of the branch name also. So in the commit message, you don't have to mention like, this is the name of the branch you're working on. Uh, it'll be thing is, you don't have to compulsorily do it. If it's your style of doing it, you can obviously mention the branch name also. But in general, Git keeps tracks of the branch name as well.
All right, yeah.
I'm not sure if I can show it here, but I think it's better if I Jamboard it. Let that load. So I'll just show you like the branch features alone. Uh, why we are using, why Git branches are used. Okay. Okay. So just imagine I made two changes right now. No, it was all committed in a linear manner. So this is where I created the hello.txt file, and this is where I edited the changed the content of the hello.txt file, right? So in this case, this is my main branch. Okay, ignore my poor handwriting. And now suppose in case, imagine my hello.txt is a website. Okay, it's a website that millions of users are using right now, and I can't just directly make a change in my main branch knowing that it will affect my users, right? Imagine it's like a test feature that I want the users to have, but it's not stable yet, it's not tested out yet. So I cannot give it to my users directly, right? So what you can do is, from your main branch, you can just create a copy of your main branch. Like all this code will come to your new branch over here. I can call it whatever I want. I'll just name it as, suppose, say, a feature. Okay, and I can make bunch of commits here, new change that test, like suppose say I added the feature, that's one commit. I tested the feature, that's one more commit. And finally, I'm satisfied with it. So what I can do is the main branch, it still continues along with it. All my users are satisfied with this main branch. There is no error, there's no bugs, nothing. After adding this new feature, I can take this code back and go into my main branch, and it will appear as a new commit over here, and my users will have access to the new feature that I created in another branch. Okay, so like branch, allows you little bit of code splitting. Like you can try out one feature, you can fix bugs in another branch without affecting the main branch. Or all this is the reason we have branches over here. So I'll just show you. Suppose say I want to add another file. Here there's a hello.txt, right? I'll just add another file called maybe td.txt. Okay, I'll just create it in the feature branch right now and I'll show it to you. So to create a branch, you just use git branch. First, before creating, we can view all the branches using the git branch command. Okay, so right now there's only one branch, it's called main. So if I want to create a branch, I can just put git branch feature, right? We discuss feature, and again just type git branch. It'll show you like there are two branches, and you can see like this asterisk, the main is highlighted. So what it basically means is I'm currently in my main branch. So you saw this head, right? So currently my all my changes are being pointed in the main branch over here. So what I need to do is I need to switch to the feature branch, go from the main to the feature, or you can say checkout to the feature branch. So for that we have a command called git checkout feature, and yeah, so it'll give you switch to branch feature, and I can to confirm it I can just put okay, yeah, git branch, and you can see right now I'm pointing to the feature branch. Okay, any doubt so far with like creating a branch and going to a branch? I can also go back to the previous branch, git checkout main, and I'm back in the main branch. So I can toggle between both using the git checkout command. Okay, so I said like let's create a new file over here. So same this one, echo uh, webdev into td.txt. Okay, then I can do git status untracked file, because uh, I'm saying master instead of main. Yeah, that cool. This happens because sometimes you must have went with the default installation settings, right? If you remember, earlier I was showing the steps in the git installation, and one of it was to override the branch name to main. So it's okay if you're in the master branch also. Uh, there are commands to rename it, but in general you'd want to rename it before pushing it to like GitHub or something. So don't worry if the name of the branch is different right now. Okay, good. Right. So it's the same workflow. Can anybody help me out here? What should I do next? Like right now it's untracked. What's the next step I should do here?
We can use git add.
Right. Git add, and what comes after add?
Git add inverted commas td.txt.
Yeah, the name of the file that I want to stage, right? Yep. And next,
Git commit space dash m
right? Just
and the repository you want to push to, like commit to.
yeah, the commit message, right? So this is for td.txt created. Okay. So now I'll just do a git status, and it will show me like everything is committed, the working tree is clean. I'll just do a dir over here. You can see there's two files, hello.txt and td.txt, right? And this is for my feature branch. So let me just show you how it's going to work in the main branch. Git checkout main. If it's master, you put git checkout master, right? And I'll run dir again, right? So now here you can see there is no uh, td.txt in my main branch. The file is not present yet. So basically we are in this stage. Uh, Over here the td.txt is there, but in my main branch it has not yet appeared, or it is yet to appear, right? So that's why we can't see it at this particular instance. So how do I bring that change into main branch, right? So how I want to bring this td.txt file into my main branch from the feature branch. Basically I want to merge my feature branch into my main branch. So the keyword here being merge, you just use git merge, and then the name of the branch. So this might be a bit confusing, right? I'll just tell you. So right now I'm in my main branch. What git merge does is uh, it looks at your current branch that you're in right now. So we checked out to the main, so it knows we are in the main, and then you put in the name of the branch, feature, right? Feature, yeah. So it takes your this just feature branch and merges into the branch that you're currently in. So I'm in the main. It will take the feature and combine those changes into the main branch as well. So I'll come back to the terminal and I'll run this. Yep. You can see one file change, create mode for the td.txt. So if I run dir again, the td.txt appears in my main branch. To confirm that, I'll just put git branch, and you can see I'm in my main branch currently. All right, so these are like some use cases of the specifically the branch feature of git. And that, you also have, I mentioned, right, your suppose say your code fails, you can go back to a previous version of it. uh, for that also git has options. Obviously this is very important. You want to go back or you want to revert your changes to a previous version, so that you know where you made a mistake or where you have to implement a change before actually fixing them. So for that you have just put a git log first, and you remember these commit IDs, right? While Git understands it, we don't. So that's why we had these commit messages. But then if you want to go back to a previous change, you can't use these commit messages, because sometimes you might have identical commit messages, but your commit ID is always unique. So that's why we need this. So suppose say I want to go back to the uh, commit before the td.txt file was created, right? So ignore the fact that this main branch exists right now, and we are just in the main, sorry, the feature branch exists and we are just in the main after merging all the code. Okay, so these are my three commits: create the hello.txt, editing the hello.txt, and creating the td.txt, right? So all these are committed and they are in my history right now. Now suppose say I'm currently here and I want to go back to this before the td file was present in the history at that point, or even before this over here. So git has the options for me to do this, and if you can just do git reset dash dash hard, and then you just paste in the commit message. So I told, right, before the td.txt file is created, so I need to go a commit before. No, I should not take this one. I should take a commit before the td.txt. So it's this one over here. Paste that. Yeah. So now I can just put git status there. Yeah, you can see the td.txt does not exist anymore because I went back to a version where it didn't exist yet. Okay, so like this is the general use case of git. You can track your uh, code changes, you can go back to a previous code, you can switch to a different branch, test it out there without affecting your main code. Once it's verified, you can merge it back into your main branch or master branch. Main master usually refers to your production code that your users will use. And yeah, so these are some use cases. Any doubts over here? I think we covered it all. Anything? Yes, for today's session. Okay, I'll share some resources over here where you can see all this more about Git. Okay, so these are just the basic things. For getting started, this is enough. There's obviously a lot more that we will be covering later. Okay, as we work. So any doubts for now? You can put in the chat box, or just put in the WhatsApp group, or even unmute right now. Anything's okay.